Hello everyone and welcome back to another review of Star Wars The Bad Batch. Today we are taking a look at Decommissioned. Is this the sixth episode or is this the fifth episode? I've lost track. What number are we on? It's an episode. It's a new episode of The Bad Batch. So forget it. Doesn't really. I suppose it doesn't matter what the episode number is because they're not necessarily labeled that way. It's just the episode titles. So this is the newest episode of The Bad Batch, and this is definitely more reminders that this is a spin-off of the Clone Wars, because we had a lot of returning Clone Wars elements here. Big one, of course, being the battle droids returning for the first time since the pilot, when the Clone Wars actually ended. So it's been several weeks since we've seen battle droids. It's honestly kind of sad seeing what happened to a lot of these droids, because it's like they're somewhat aware and sentient of what's going on around them, even if they're not all that smart. So it is kind of sad to, these kind of bumbling, dangerous, yes, but these kind of bumbling droids that if you reprogram, they could just be like fun companions or something, like Roger in the Freemaker Adventures. So it's kind of sad to see them all just on a conveyor belt, shut down, getting melted, and without any knowledge of what's going on. When the tactical droid wakes them up, and they start to get up and stuff, I really kind of felt bad, because one of them went, "Did we win?" It's like, they're just, from their point of view, they're in the middle of battle, and then the shutdown command comes in, and so then they shut down, and then most of them don't wake up again. It's just kind of sad. So seeing all the battle droids getting melted down on Corellia was super sad. I was actually going, oh, I'm sad about this, even though, they were dangerous. Even if they were kind of charming and how stupid they were at times. So it was definitely bittersweet to have the battle droids back again. But of course, the battle droids weren't the only returning things from the Clone Wars. What I'm sure is controversial online is the return of Trace and Rafa Martez. Not the characters that I would have expected to show up again. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm happy they showed up again. Because now that they've had their initial appearance in Season 7, and now maybe, we could see a different side to them, a little bit more of a competent side, and, they could be less annoying to the fan base at large, because, I remember when they debuted, a lot of people were not happy with the Martez sisters. They were not liking the Martez sisters. So, it was definitely interesting to see the feedback then. Some of it I agreed with, some of it I didn't. You can go back and watch my Clone Wars reviews to see what I thought of the Martez sisters back when they first appeared. To summarize, I didn't mind them then. I don't mind them now. I think they're fine characters. They're not the best. They're not the worst. They just kind of are, but I don't think they're awful. But now they've kind of got a different, kind of a different dynamic to them now, because now they are like actually full-time smugglers or bounty hunters or something, as opposed to like doing the one odd job with the spice run. And it seems like maybe they're a little bit more competent than they were in the past. Rafa for sure seems to be a better shot with a blaster. There were several moments during their initial debut episodes where I'm like, she's kind of a decent shot with a blaster. Has she trained with a blaster before? It seems like she just picked one up and all of a sudden she's just murking guys. But she did pretty well fending off the battle droid, the security droids, and I'm very interested in seeing who their contact is. It's like, is this like early rebellion stuff? Was that Bail Organa, or was that like Rex or someone? or Ahsoka. It was interesting is that there was an animation error, it seemed like, that might be leading to hinting that they are working directly with Ahsoka and Rex, is that R7, Ahsoka's R7, was in the cockpit of the ship, of their ship, in one shot. Then later on, when they activate the hologram, R7 then changed colors. They did designate the droid as R7, but it may not be the same R7 that's Ahsoka's droid. And an animator accidentally put in the wrong character model, and it somehow made its way all the way through checks. Kind of a similar thing to Captain Rex having his night vision visor on in the original Bad Batch arc for a very brief half-second shot that made it all the way through rendering and stuff. But I noticed it immediately, and I'm like, okay, that was weird. How'd that pass all the checks? So it'll be interesting to see if their R7 is the same R7 that Ahsoka had, and now he's been I don't know if R7 was ever designated a he or a she. It kind of has a different sounding bleeps and bloops compared to R2 that maybe sound a little more feminine. So I'm going to go with R7 as a she. I'm not sure about that, but just going to go with that for now. So it's possible that, because we saw that Ahsoka and Rex did salvage what was left of R7 from the wreckage of the Venator that went down. So it's possible that, they repaired R7 and gave her a new paint job, and now she's running around with Trace and Rafa to help keep an eye on them while they do some odd jobs for Ahsoka and Rex, or something like that. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there, or if it was just a completely different droid that just happened to share the R7 designation, and so then there was an oopsie on the animation side of things when they went to do final render, and then they used the old R7 model that was Ahsoka's droid. It's like, or maybe it's like, wow, let's intentionally put in this continuity error just to confuse people and make them think, ooh. So maybe that was their intention. I really doubt it. So it will be interesting to see how all of this turns out over the next couple weeks. Also, as I said last week, Wrecker's inhibitor chip is definitely going to be an ongoing story arc, and it was not just kind of a setup for a joke where he hits his head every episode. He is hitting his episode. He is hitting his head quite often, but it's not done as a joke. It is legitimately part of the plot in that it's affecting his inhibitor chip. And after the hit he took this episode, it really rattled his noodle a little bit. So I'm worried about what's going to be going on with Wrecker here in the next couple episodes, because he was saying things he was saying things that I don't like about soldiers following orders. So, ooh boy. So yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about this episode. I liked it. It was fun. It was enjoyable. Omega being forced to come along just based on necessity. It worked. Her being in danger then showed the caring side of Trace and Rafa, that they did go and rescue her, and they worked with the Bad Batch. Of course, the Echo joke. The Echo joke was brilliant. Is there an Echo in here? Hello. What? What do you need? It's like, what? And it's like, I'm Echo. It's like, oh, okay, Echo. It's like, that was pretty funny. I'm surprised it took them 7 seasons of Clone Wars and a spin-off show to finally make that joke. But, yeah, I really think that was pretty much it I had for this episode. So I will say one thing, is that I'm missing Crosshair, because the last time we saw him was the 3rd episode, so it's been 2 or 3 weeks. So I am very much concerned about what he's up to. I really doubt that he and his squad are just sitting on Camino twiddling their thumbs. If I had to guess, they've probably been running around doing a whole bunch of assassination jobs for the Empire. I feel like that this would be a good opportunity to kind of adapt one of the storylines from the 501st Journal from the original Battlefront 2 from 2005, where the first Imperial level was the subjugation of Naboo, where the Queen was very vocal against Palpatine, so the 501st went in and shut her up. So I could definitely see a version of that playing out with Crosshair and his what is essentially the first Death Trooper squad. I could see them doing something similar to that, maybe not exactly going to Naboo to assassinate the Queen, but maybe something similar. So I think we could definitely see something like that. And then how it's like Crosshair definitely seemed conflicted when he sat down on his bunk the last we saw him, because there were these other random people going to the bunks that he shared with the rest of the Bad Batch at one point. So he definitely seems to be missing them. But will he, if he sees them again, will he actually have a moment where he has to reconsider things, or is the inhibitor chip still really controlling most of his functions? As we saw in Onderon, he's like, well, then the mission is to kill everyone, so we got to kill everyone. Oh, these are civilians? Well, the civilians count as everyone, so we got to kill everyone. So, that was definitely inhibitor chip not so goodness right there. So, I'm eager for us to get more Crosshairs. I understand taking a couple weeks off from him to set up the Bad Batch, getting merc work from Sid, and kind of getting them a more stable place to lay low for a while on Ord Mantell. But we definitely need to get back to Crosshair, because he is a member of the Bad Batch. He is still part of the story. So hopefully next week we will be getting back to that. And I think that's really it for this review. Good episode this week. I'm of course looking forward to more episodes, and we'll see how this show turns out. Actually, hold on, really quick. I think it is interesting seeing some of the responses online. People saying that this is a stronger first season than like say Clone Wars season 1 or Rebels season 1. And I agree to an extent, but I'm not sure it's really fair to judge this as it is a first season of a new show, but it carries over so many things from Clone Wars in terms of storytelling chops, visuals, just how episodes are conducted, that honestly, I find it hard to compare this to, say, Season 1 of Clone Wars or Season 1 of Rebels, because Season 1 of Clone Wars, Lucasfilm Animation had Lucasfilm Animation had not existed prior to Season 1 of Clone Wars. And then Rebels was working with a whole new cast of characters, a whole new art style, so while it was their second show, they really were starting from scratch with Rebels. And then they ended up working more Clone Wars stuff into that. But Bad Batch is a direct continuation of where Clone Wars left off with Season 7, and it's taken all the lessons they've learned on Clone Wars and Rebels and doing all that stuff. So it's like, this is overall, this is probably a stronger first season than Clone Wars or Rebels Season 1. It's definitely stronger than Resistance Season 1. But, I feel like it's almost not fair to judge it against those, because Bad Batch, from the point of its inception to where it is now, it has all these advantages going for it that the other shows that it's being compared to didn't necessarily have to start off with. So I don't know. I just feel a little weird comparing it to that. It's like, oh, let's rank all the first seasons of the Star Wars shows, and it's like, should Bad Batch be on that list? I don't know. So because it really, in a way, is Clone Wars Season 8. So I don't know. Just a little interesting. Not exactly a thought experiment, but just kind of a thought that I had. Just kind of an interesting observation. So so that is it now. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those links are in the description below. And I'll see you guys next week for another Bad Batch review. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.